this time.
All right.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, that sounds much better.
Okay. So we're live, and I apologize for the mistakes there, but learning curve.
We're still new here.
Yeah. The whole video aspect is new. I've been watching it for years, but producing it, this is really only the second one we've produced. So,
And we had help for the first one.
Yes, we did.
The big one.
Yeah,
the big one. This is the first time that we're doing it on our own channel.
Well, no, the second time.
Like, yeah, because we took like a couple practice runs, but like this is our first. Like, we announced it before we're doing it. And,
oh yes, the other one we did like an instantly sort of. Yeah.
So, well,
we'll get it better for next time. I promise.
We're gonna stick the landing though.
Let's hope so.
Well, hello, kits. Welcome to season 2 and episode number 3 of Beaver Bites, our much less scripted version of our regular podcast. Still the same incisive commentary on Canadian politics and general culture, but much less scripted. Today, recording day is Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just kept going. And it has once again been a weather-perfect sunny day after a much-needed full day of rain here at the Beaver Lodge, for which I am grateful because our peonies had been suffering and they seem happy again. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, and my heart overflows with joy at the thought that you, dearest kits, have chosen to give us your attention once more.
Yeah, thanks,
We really appreciate it. And, we know it's the summer months, right? Not every one of you is going to come to every show. You're taking some personal time. That's okay.
I completely get it. Yeah. Well, I'm sort of out to lunch at the moment because I started the audio portion late. So, because we'll record the audio for a separate thing for the just for the audio podcast for those who can't tune in, as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm. So, I forgot where I was.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm flying by the seat of her pants completely right now. Actually, I'm not even wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts.
Oh, okay. I slipped some on just before the show. No.
28 degrees in here. Who's kidding who?
No, hey, we went to the splash pad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. First, we have to thank the sponsors. Yes. So.
Yes, go ahead. Right. Do that.
Yes. So the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com for being the best cheerleaders a beaver and a grizzly could have. We're so happy you're with us. On this episode, it'll once again be a bit of a grab bag. We've got more about the chairless party of Canada's absolute flustercuck of a leadership race, the PM living in conservative heads rent-free, a few other matters, but with a bit of focus on the bit of grandly staged political theater from the recent First Ministers Conference. Mr. Grizzly's particularly fired up about that one, and I think I'm going to engage in a little delayed gratification by dealing with all the other stuff first and finishing with a big bang.
Sounds good to me. We have a few things to cover. I mean, DOFO, healthcare, Skippy, the climate, the planet is on fire. London, England is literally on fire right now.
40.2 degrees Celsius, a record all-time ever. 39 the other day was for first all-time ever. Now it's 40.2, so first time crossing 40. There are fires in Spain, there are fires in France, there are fires in Portugal, there are fires and drought in Portugal at the same time. Imagine that. And I mean, it's not a huge country. Portugal hit 57.
57. Wow. Okay. So when I was in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe in 2001, I experienced 52, and I thought I knew what hot was before that. Until that day, and it was a dry heat, right? Because but I'll tell you what, I had no concept of what real heat was like until I experienced 52. 57. I know it's only a 5-degree difference, but from 52 to 57, come on. From 32 to 37 is a tremendous difference, right?
Oh, yeah.
So right. 52 to 57, people die. Yeah.
Look, I'm Well, uh, I can't remember the number off the top. Yeah, about 1,100 Europeans so far.
Have already perished.
Yeah, I've already perished.
Oh God.
I look right. I got some brown on me, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I look tropical, right? I am
Oh, yeah.
so not. I am so not. I am a Canadian boy through and through. Give me the spring, give me the winter, give me the fall.
Are you
I mean,
dying?
if it weren't for tennis, ooh, summer would be rough on me. And it's just I remember for me the hottest is when I was with my Beaver sweetie. We had been dating about 2 years, and he took me to Romania to show me, his homeland. And we were in downtown Bucharest, and we were going to the presidential palace. Now you have to understand that the presidential palace is the second largest governmental building in the world after the Pentagon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Know
was
that?
that. Yeah, yeah. Ceausescu
That's
built
big.
this huge thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, and when you're going down there, this grand boulevard with walkways and fountains, like this, all the fountains were turned off that day. Uh, and there's not a tree in sight anywhere,
Mm.
anywhere. It is all concrete and asphalt.
So no breaks from anything at all.
Yeah.
Just
And
suffering.
and a really huge area, like leading up to it, and then the whole palace. And like I said, the palace is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going there, and I think the base temperature was 35. And
That's pretty high.
with the trees and in the city and all that kind of stuff, that was fine. But when we started getting there, after a few bit time that we were walking there,
Mhm.
we I was not doing well, like at
No,
all.
it's bloody hot.
And then we figured, okay, well, once we finally get there and get inside, like this, we'll sit in the area, in the waiting area, and like this, there'll be some air conditioning, and we'll be fine, right? The last 200 meters were painful to
Oh
get
yeah.
in. And then we get in, and there's absolutely no air conditioning because everything's ventilated in a different way through coals and buildings and stuff. Or I'm not exactly sure how that happens, but there is no air conditioning. And then there's all the bodies of
Oh, yeah.
all the people waiting to go on the tour.
Just it's like a giant oven at that point, right?
According to my Beaver sweetie, I was literally turning green.
Oh, I can believe it.
Yep. We bolted out. I got to see the lobby entrance and from outside, but the lobby entrance of the building like this for about 3 minutes. And what I saw from outside, I mean, I don't really remember all that much really, because my only focus was like trying to stay upright and not hurl. So,
Right. Right.
and then by the time we got to the part where there were trees, it was like a 10-degree drop. Boom,
Oh my.
instant, right? So trees and cities.
That's a really noticeable change too. Like 10 degrees that's an extreme drop.
After about like 10 or 15 minutes where the trees were, I was back to myself again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the difference between 15 degrees and 25 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So 35 to 25, massive difference.
So
And Romania is not exactly like a hot country,
it
ordinarily.
can be.
Oh yeah, I think it's very much like Ottawa in that sense, right? Like, hi, today it's minus 40 in January, and hi, today it's the middle of July and it's 47 with humidity.
I'm not sure. I'd have
I
to
don't
ask
think it gets that cold though.
Yeah,
But it can
but
get that hot.
yeah, but he tells me like the summers here generally are a little cool for him.
Okay. Well, you're in K-Town though, and you're right on the lake.
Yeah,
right?
But he can do the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's good with that. So yeah, I mean, Lytton is under threat of wildfire again.
Well, there's nothing there. If it
Damage.
burns, there's everything burnt last year. There's nothing left, right?
Yeah, but there's still been some damage to some buildings already. This morning there was 45 active blazes in Manitoba. Temperatures had hit 39 to 42 and are expected in 3 provinces of China, and apparently the average temperature has been like 35 like for the last several days.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just it's yeah, the world's on fire.
Well, There was a thing I saw the other day on the Twitter, and it was theoretical advancement of here's a possible forecast for July of 2050 for the UK, and all the possible temperatures they surpassed in the past few days.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be like, 2050, and this was from 2018 or 2010.
Yeah.
So they're going 60 years in the future. And in 12 years, we've already passed it. And I'm laughing because I don't feel like crying on a live stream because, like, really, what can we do about it? You remember that episode of The Newsroom?
Yes.
Right, when they had the guy who played Toby on The Office on, and
Yep.
he worked for the I'll say the environment minister, but that's not what they call it in the U.S. It's whatever. It's
Yeah. The EPA.
EPA? Was it EPA? Yeah, and he was saying
Environmental
like
Protection
so.
Agency.
And I love the guys. Well, how can we? What can we do? What can we do? He goes, nothing. It's too late. It's over. And, that would have been great 10 years ago, but it's already too late. We're done.
Yeah. I mean, I think about this, right? Because I can't really remember a time when we weren't talking about the environment. Like when I think back in my childhood.
You know what? In the 70s, I remember, military kid, 1977, we moved to Gander, Newfoundland. And I remember we got there early summer, and they had military bases. They always have like these summer fun camp programs. It's not what people would call sleepaway camp. It's not that. It takes place on the base. It's every day just to keep the kids busy. And I remember attending them in Trenton before we moved to Gander. And I remember this one specifically in Gander in 1977, the summer 77. And this particular group of environmental activists at the time, I don't think it was Greenpeace. I think it was just trying to teach kids about reduce, reuse, recycle,
Yep.
How insulate your home better, don't gas guzzle. Anyway, they were telling us in 1977, by the time you're old enough to drive, there'll be no more oil left and you won't be able to drive. And I was pretty upset about that. I mean, well, that obviously didn't come true, but one of the things they did predict was the world's going to get a whole lot hotter. And weather's going to get a lot more unpredictable. And this was 77, and these were people that were using research that ExxonMobil had written back in the early 70s that were predicting where we would be right now, like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
This is Exxon did this. They said, this is currently what the trajectory shows us. Here we are.
Yep. I mean, I was remembering this Earth Day special that was on TV where Bette Midler was playing Mother Earth.
I remember that.
Yeah. I guess like she was dying, right? And, and it's like, I'm thinking like, how old was I when I was like, and I look back and it's like, oh yeah, I was, 16. Like at 16, they were already having Earth Day specials.
Well, the first Earth Day was in like 1971, I think.
But
under Nixon.
But primetime Earth Day specials. So like people of my age then would learn, like, right? I'm all in, right, on environment, right? You're preaching to the choir here, but I grew up with it.
Yes. Yes.
We've talked about this, like at least that's my most vivid memory is that special. So it's 32 years.
Yeah, we're in.
What the fuck, man?
We're not doing well.
Like seriously,
because again, I don't want to cry.
Just, man. I mean, that's that movie Don't Look Up came up, and everybody's what interesting. Can you do it? Is a documentary possible?
Well, I keep saying all the time in a semi-joking matter. I keep looking up for the asteroid because.
Did you see that UN video? They had that little promo social marketing thing where everybody's gathered at this UN meeting, and some like the door opens and everybody's afraid, and it's like this dinosaur like comes walking in.
Not seen.
Oh no. Oh, it's fantastic. Comes to the mic and like talking about all this stuff and it's like, at least we had an asteroid.
We had a real excuse.
That's like
Yeah.
I get and I laugh, but I mean I watched and first I watched it in French, and in French it's really different because the dinosaur is spoken with the voice of a woman who's speaking like she is an actual like statesman.
Oh, okay.
Right? So then I went to get it in French in English to share with the kids. It's like and it's just the schmo talking. It has a different vibe, right?
Well, it's kind of like if you watch, if I don't know if any of the viewers are familiar with Tete Claque. Tete Claque was a Quebecois thing, very Quebecois, very funny. It was a guy who had lost his job. He was a computer programmer and he was sitting at home bored trying to do something to keep his kids entertained. And he came up with Tete Claque. Now, Tete Claque, I understand, I'd say about 95% of it. I lived in Quebec for a number of years, so I get the humor and I can understand what he's saying. I can't converse well in French, but I could understand it. And I especially got the humor. And they did it in English, and I'm like, it doesn't work.
Nope.
It didn't work at all.
Nope.
I'm like, I really wanted it to, but it didn't.
Nope.
And they loved it in France and Belgium because it was so ridiculous. Right? Happy Halloween. Avez-vous des Pop-Tarts? Donnez-moi une Pop-Tart. Je prends une Pop-Tart. You'd have to see it. And if you don't get Quebecois Francophone humor, it won't make any sense to you. And again, it's very guttural slang linguistics. So it's not, if you have textbook Francais, most of it will go right over your head.
Yeah. For us, it was Roque Bazaret.
Oui.
We were on I went to a French high school, and we were on the Génie en Herbe team.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the Génie en Herbe skit, which is like reach for the top in French.
Anyway.
So like this. So, and it was like the 4 students from like some like super like very prim and proper school like this, and like the bells would go ding and they would clap like this, and then the four the team on the bottom was like Reform School Saint Jean Bosco, and every time they'd hit the buzzer it would be a burp like burp. And then there's one guy that kept on answering Bo Derek to all the which lady Bo Derek.
So you're making me think of Elvis Gratton now, which is such a very funny, very 80s Quebecois film. J'ai un garage, un gros garage. Okay, we're not going to bore the listeners or the viewers with this because if you don't understand it, it won't make any sense to you whatsoever. But if you speak French, check out Tete Claque. Happy Halloween is the funniest one. Or the Super Willy Waller 2001. That's a good one too. It's a potato peeler. The LCD shovel, he has a shovel with a screen on it so he could watch movies as he shoveled snow. It's just completely silly stuff.
Oh, man.
And Elvis Baton. Okay, we get a little bit of humor out of the way now. Let's get into the serious stuff. How about, what would you like to tackle first, sir?
Well, you know what? I haven't asked you how your mental health is today.
It's actually weird. Oh. I think that's a good. Well, I was at work today and I was trying to make some software work and it wouldn't work, and I was like, and I'm realizing, oh, that's not good. That the short fuse, that's the big D slipping its dirty tongue into my ear and saying nasty things. That's depression. And your fuse gets shortened and you snap, and I'm like, what's going on? Why am I don't understand. So then I just closed the computer and walked away, went outside, had a bagel, came back in and realized the software was just glitching, and there's no need to get upset, but it was one of those things. So it's like, I feel great. I slept like way too much last night. I woke up really tired at 5, but by the time I was ready to leave, I was good to go. Had a good day at work, other than, some software glitches. But yeah, it's like one of those things that's like, for those of us who've battled depression and anxiety, and it is a battle, You know what the touchstones are. If you've been fighting it for as long as I have, it's like 42 plus years for me now. So, you know what the touchstones are. You can see like a little
Mhm.
flag, or it's like, oh, there's a sign. What? I don't know what's causing it, and I have no reason to suspect it's anything outlandish because life is pretty good. I'm dead broke, and it's the summer, and I'm too busy to go anywhere and really do anything. So maybe that's weighing on me, but
Mhm.
I don't think that's it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it could be a million different things. But I mean, I'm in great spirits. I'm happy as I can possibly be, and life is pretty good. So I don't know. How about you? You good or?
Well, I sort of had the opposite in terms of sleep. Apparently, according to my Beaver sweetie, yesterday I went to the guest room
Mhm.
where the office is, where I am right now,
Right.
and because we're still in some renovations, there's a air mattress on the floor here in case we need it. And
Right.
apparently, I just wanted to stretch out for 1 second, and apparently, because it's close to the floor, so apparently I fell asleep on my knees, sort of like preposition, knees on the floor and body forward on the air mattress.
Okay. All right. That's
I have no recollection of all I did was I'm just gonna just like get off my feet and just like how sometimes you just like drop somewhere like just for about 2 minutes and like then you get back up was
yeah.
one of those things. Never got up.
That's very
Woke up at
strange.
I've been up since 3:30 in the morning.
Oh,
It is 8:25 p.m.
that's,
I've not slept a
that's
wink since.
dude. That's a long day.
That's a long day. Um, and I got my first cold since COVID ever started.
But it's
Uh,
not COVID.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
I the when I went to Ottawa for my Hamlet audition,
Yes.
which went pretty darn well, I have to say. So I should hear sometime this week. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm really hoping. I may have left the door open just a little, just a little. I
You're
might not have
very
been.
blurry.
Yeah, I know. I keep fading in and out that
Can't
way.
move back. If you move back, it'll do that.
Okay.
That's what happens.
So I
We'll have to
may
get you
not
a
have,
green screen backdrop so we can send you somewhere else.
yeah, I may not have been kingly enough. That's really weird because I'm not going everywhere. It's fading in and out. I may not have been kingly enough, but they worked with me like a good long time, which is generally a good sign in that type of audition. I wasn't in and out in 2 minutes. I was there for about 30, 40.
Oh,
So
really?
like
So,
really trying
so
it different ways. And so that's usually a good sign. So I
one
had
would
reason
think,
to
right?
be hopeful. So I'm crossing and I'm very happy with what I did. So so no regrets on my end. So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping. But that night was one of the first nights where the temperature started to go up. And I turned the air conditioner on a little higher than it probably needed to be to try to get rid of the humidity as fast as possible.
And
And again, fell asleep with it on. And well, you know what happens when you do that, you wake up the next morning all sniffly and congested.
I can
And
do it.
yep. So yeah, that's been my thing. And I gave it to my Beaver sweetie. So yay me. But yeah, and I've got my fourth shot.
Oh, okay. Mine is on Thursday.
Yeah, while I was in town, I found a public health facility. I had to go around though. Like the first day, I thought it was going to be like in December,
Mhm.
where I just went to the pharmacy and get it, and the pharmacies have not gotten it. A lot of them are. It was really weird because they said it was coming, and then it was supposed to be on the 12th. They said they were going to make the announcement. They made the announcement, or for the 12th, and it said it was for the 14th, and they took the whole weekend, and I thought that that was going to be done so that people would stock up on all that stuff and they could hire the people to administer them if they were going to have another clinic and all that kind of stuff. And no, I went to like 7 pharmacies that first day and I couldn't get anything. There was nothing available for anything. And then the next day I went on to the city of Ottawa and I found there was a public health unit and I went there and I just walked right in. There was nobody there waiting. It was, yeah.
Wow. So
So that
that's
could
a
have been
surprise.
announced.
Yeah,
That could have been
well,
announced. If you want it right away, to go to a public health unit and don't waste your time going to pharmacies.
well, I booked mine with a local pharmacy, not a chain, because the chains were like, "Oh no, nothing available, nothing available, nothing available, nothing available, nothing."
Yeah.
Okay, enough of this crap. And I was going to walk. There's a public health just off Bank Street, over Bank and Lisgar. I was going to wander over there and see, and I thought, well, wait a minute, let me just try this local thing because I can go at 4:30 on Thursday right after work. It's a 10-minute walk from the office. I'll walk in, get my shot, turn around, come home, go to the football game.
Yeah. So yeah, and we have some news that kids can use with regard to boosters later on in the show. So um, some little bit of headlines that you might want to be aware of. The anticipated Via Rail strike that we mentioned in our last Bite show of over 2,400 employees ultimately did not happen. The talks progressed well during the 72-hour strike notice period and were extended 3 or 4 times until a deal was reached. But while the strike was averted, derailed was Federal Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault's plan to travel by train across Canada to talk to people about emissions due to the lack of rail routes available to cross the country.
Well,
Hey, hello, Government of Canada. Has anybody checked in with VIA since 1988?
no, I don't think so.
My good word. Yeah, Elizabeth May did a whistle stop tour a few years ago. She's but yeah, the service has been even really reduced since then. Guilbeault announced in Glasgow during the November 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, commonly known as COP26, that he would be hopping on Via Rail trains in the upcoming months to tour the country and discuss climate change. But 5 of Canada's provincial capitals are not served by Via Rail passenger service, and in the places it does operate, Via had repeatedly and significantly reduced departures due to the pandemic and simply was no longer offering the required services level to make it possible.
Wow.
Yeah. Oops. Bad planning.
Yeah, no,
just a bit. Fallout from the Rogers outage continues to grow. Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry of Canada, François-Philippe Champagne, was not at all impressed and convened a meeting of telecom CEOs where he basically read them out for an hour.
I wanted to make sure that in no uncertain terms they understand how Canadians found the situation unacceptable and they need to take immediate initial steps to improve the resiliency of our network in Canada.
He also demanded a plan in 60 days from the telcos that would achieve 3 things. Mr. Grizzly?
Well, the first one is mutual assistance in case of outage. The second thing is emergency roaming. And the third thing is having a protocol around communication for the public and authorities.
This seems to be only a first step as well. The Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or CRTC, will launch an investigation into the outage. It sent a scathing letter to Rogers stating it jeopardized the safety of millions of people.
Well, how many people could not dial 911? And I think a few people lost loved ones on that day because they could not get an ambulance. I mean, forget about the fact that there's probably no ambulances available because the healthcare situation is dire, but at least if you can call one, you get the feeling that, help is coming. But when you can't call.
Yeah. The Deaf Wireless Canada Committee agrees, saying that the outage posed severe health and safety barriers. The group stated it believes the outage may have not only affected deaf, blind, and hard of hearing Canadians, but also hearing adults and seniors who depend on wireless connections for personal safety, such as those who have devices with fall detection features or diabetics who rely on glucose sensor alerts connected to smartphones.
Even a one-day outage could have resulted in a senior with dementia wandering off, or a person experience a fall and their locations not being recorded for 911 alerts.
The CRTC gave Rogers 10 days, or until July 22nd, to respond to a detailed list of 50 questions. Rogers must explain the root cause of the outage, how government, Interac, and other critical infrastructure was impacted, provide a timeline of how it communicated with customers about the outage, state the number of 911 calls that could not be completed, broken down by province. That's very precise. Yeah. And provide details of every major outage over the past 3.5 years, as well as how customers will be compensated. And Rogers had first come out saying they would compensate 2 days initially, and initially are offering 5. Smaller providers such as TechSavvy also weighed in, with spokesperson Peter Nowak stating,
In many other countries, if one provider goes down, the whole country doesn't go with them, or half the country. And this is just merely a function of that fact that Rogers has been allowed to grow so big.
there will be parliamentary committee meetings on the matter, and they may be the only chance Canadians have to see Rogers publicly testify about what happened. Health Canada announced that the Moderna vaccine can be given to young children between 6 months and 5 years old in doses 1/4 the size of that approved for adults. The approval was based on review of clinical trial data from Canada and the United States and means 1.7 million more Canadians will soon be able to get a vaccine against the COVID-19 virus.
I think it will be significant. If you're the parent of a young child, you know what generally happens is your kids go to daycare or to school. They get sick, they bring the bug home, and then everybody in the house will get sick. So if we can prevent young children from getting sick, we prevent their family members from getting sick, and that's going to help. It's not in and of itself going to end the pandemic, but it is going to help. And though children are at lower risk from getting severe complications from COVID, that risk is not zero. And children have died from this. And so if we can prevent that, I don't see why you wouldn't want to have your children vaccinated.
Opined Montreal-based cardiologist and epidemiologist, Dr. Christopher Labos. I'm sorry for the people who are watching. I do not know what's going on with the camera whatsoever at my end.
You'll have to undo the blurred background is all. That's
All right.
the only way. Yeah, that's the only way, man. Sorry, dude.
All right. Sorry, people. Renovations. This is what it looks like.
It don't matter.
I'm not going to win a background award.
Not going for that, so don't worry about it.
BA5 is the most transmissible COVID variant yet. The strain is 3 to 4 times more resistant to antibodies. It's the most dominant strain in the US right now. The R value being about 6 times higher, Labo states.
We have to remember that the infectiousness of the virus depends not just on the properties of the virus, but on our behavior. If everybody's vaccinated, if people wear masks, if people maintain social distancing, the infectious potential of the virus goes down. There's a lot that we can do that can alter that and make them less contagious and limit their spread to the entire population.
According to the June 26 sample collecting, BA5 has taken over from BA2 as the leading variant in Canada, with 53.8% of the cases to 32.1% for BA2, which is on its way out, and with BA4 rising at 13.7%. In the US, the CDC reported about a week ago that the BA4 and BA5 subvariants of Omicron accounted for more than 70% of new infections nationwide, suggesting these variants may partially escape the immunity one gets from prior vaccination or infection. 1/3 of all the people in the United States live in a county that is declared one of high COVID transmission.
That's not good.
No. This is supported by data from the Harvard Medical School that shows that Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5 appear to escape antibody responses compared with other Omicron subvariants. However, vaccination is expected to protect against severe symptoms. Researchers at Columbia University made similar findings that people who are fully vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19 are not fully protected against the newest variants.
We're in the Omicron area now. Era?
Yeah.
I'm misquoting. Let's try that again, shall we? This is live. We are in the Omicron era now. It can sneak around some of the protective immunity that we've garnered from prior vaccination and also from prior infection, or even a combination of both.
Affirms Dr. Isaac Bogosh, infectious disease specialist at the Toronto General Hospital, as if nobody knows by now. Getting up to date on the primary series is very, very important. We are getting closer and closer to 3 doses becoming officially the new definition of fully vaccinated, and obtaining a second booster, if you are eligible, is very important. So quickly, here's your
Coast to coast to coast booster roundup. Yukon.
all individuals 18 and older can now book a 4th shot if 6 months have passed since their 3rd. Appointments begin on July 13th. For those who have recently had COVID-19, a 4th shot or second booster is not recommended until 3 months have passed.
Northwest Territories.
All individuals aged 50 and older and all immunocompromised people aged 12 and older are eligible to receive a 4th dose. In accordance with NACI's guidelines, the territory recommends that individuals wait at least 6 months after their 3rd dose before booking another shot.
Nunavut.
Residents aged 18 and older are eligible for a fourth dose if it has been 4.5 months since their last dose. Some jurisdictions are prioritizing
There you
specific
go.
age groups.
British Columbia.
Everyone aged 12 and up can receive a booster shot if 6 months have passed since their last dose, though those eligible are advised to wait until fall. The province currently recommends a fourth dose for individuals aged 70 and older, people in long-term care or awaiting placement in long-term care, Indigenous people aged 55 and older, and all immunocompromised people.
Alberta.
Those 70 and up are eligible for a fourth dose. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people aged 65 and older, and all seniors living in congregate care settings, regardless of age. That's not a
Saskatchewan.
lot of people.
Oh, no, it's not.
What the hell, Alberta?
Oh, come on. It's Jason Kenney. Bible school dropout. Actually, he was kicked out. He didn't drop out. He was kicked out of Bible school.
He's only sticking around so he can make the Pope. Go figure he would make that moment about himself.
Well, Boris Johnson just pulled what's now known as a Jason Kenney. I'm stepping down in 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah. This is becoming a trend, eh?
Yeah.
Damn you, Thomas Mulcair. Yes.
Well, it really should call it a Mulcair, but we're going with Kenney because, well, Mulcair, it is a Mulcair, but the thing is, Mulcair was not a reprehensible, disgusting, horrible human being. And that's the difference.
True.
That's why I want to call it a Kenney, because the guy's just, well, he's an asshole.
And that's not an insult. It's merely a statement of fact.
That's all it is. Not saying anything that isn't true. Okay. Saskatchewan.
All individuals 50 and over are eligible for a fourth dose if it's been at least 4 months since they've received their last shot.
Manitoba.
Groups eligible for a fourth dose are individuals aged 50 and older, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people aged 30 and up, residents of personal care homes, and elderly people living in congregate settings, and moderately to severe immunocompromised individuals aged 18 to 49.
Ontario.
Thanks in great part to the efforts of Dr. Neely Kaplan Mirth.
Yes.
Who threatened to sue, well, was not only threatened, was organizing, mobilizing.
Yes, a class action suit, if memory serves, correct?
Yes, because apparently that's what it takes to get someone to get her done.
Well, he's on the phone 24/7. Remember, Doug Ford's phone is the name of his skidoo in the winter and his sea-doo in the summer. So he's at the cottage. I'm up at the cottage. I am, but I'm on the phone 24/7. Doug, go to work. People are dying on your watch again.
Mm-hmm.
You heartless bastard. Actually, I shouldn't call him a bastard. That's an insult to his mother.
Bunker Premier. I told you he was going to do it. That man. All adults aged 18, so thanks to her efforts,
Yes.
all adults aged 18 to 59 who had a third shot at least 5 months ago or 3 months since a COVID-19 infection will be eligible for a fourth. And I got mine, and I'm ready for my fifth, baby. Got 2 arms, will travel, juice me. Previously, the eligible groups were those aged 60 and older and First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people who are 18 and older. According to public health officials, Quebec and Ontario entered the 7th wave of the pandemic last week with the Omicron BA.5 subvariant dominating in both provinces. Woohoo!
Yay, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Well, it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. Oh, sorry, that's an older song. Never mind. Quebec
Has expanded fourth dose. I'm having trouble tonight. Has expanded fourth dose eligibility to all residents aged 18 and older, though a provincial spokesperson confirmed to CBC News that the province is prioritizing people 60 years and up, all individuals with underlying medical conditions, and anyone at a higher risk of complications from COVID-19.
And they've also been vaccinating people left, right, and center for smallpox to prevent from monkeypox, correct?
Yes.
So they've got it under control in Quebec pretty quickly for the most part, I'd say.
I saw a graph today about the difference in the curves and the rise of monkeypox between Canada and the United States.
It's night and day.
Oh my God. The value of having effective public health.
Yeah, no kidding.
Priceless. Priceless.
Prince Edward Island.
The island's chief public health officer announced last week that the province has expanded eligibility for a fourth shot to every resident aged 12 and up as COVID-19 case numbers rise among islanders.
Well, New Brunswick. No, let's do Newfoundland and Labrador first, shall we?
All right. Starting July 20, anyone over 50 will be eligible for a fourth dose of the vaccine. Until then, those eligible are people aged 70 and older, all individuals living in a congregate setting for seniors and Indigenous people, or individuals living in a remote or isolated Indigenous community aged 18 and up.
New Brunswick.
As of July 12, all residents aged 18 and up are eligible for a fourth dose of the vaccine if it has been 5 months since their last shot. Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Jennifer Russell, announced the decision as hospitalizations rise across the province.
And Nova Scotia.
Current guidelines allow fourth doses for people aged 50 and older if 168 days have passed since their last dose. For all residents of long-term care and senior congregate settings, members of First Nations communities who are 55 and older, and immunocompromised people aged 50 and older, the recommended interval between doses is 120 days.
And that's your coast to coast to coast booster roundup.
So there you go, kids. I gleaned that from a CBC article, and you'll find that on our Twitter feed and on our blog page on Facebook if you're looking for it. Over the past month, reported cases have jumped from a 7-day average of 2,003 per day on June 20th to 4,868 per day on July 18th, which, if you're doing the math, is more than double, which means a 143% increase in 1 month.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why the passports are not getting processed and why you're waiting forever for your luggage.
Because everybody's sick and dying.
It's not a big mystery. Everybody's, why is this happening? Oh my God, I can't understand. Like, come on, man. It's not really that complicated.
I got to give a shout out to Jen. My goodness. Get that Doug Ford taken care of as soon as you can, please. Just mentioned something in the chat there. I'm like, I hope you'll be okay. I hope it's not too serious, but wow.
Yeah. I mean, hospitalizations on June 22nd were at a 7-day average of 3,270 with 205 in the ICU. On July 12th, hospitalizations were up 20.5% to 3,940 per day, and ICU admissions were up 19% in that same period from 204 to 244. And if you look at the hospitalization chart, if you look at the first waves, right, there are peaks that hit where we are now. But if you look at everything from I believe it's the Delta wave on, the lowest that we've got is in some of the peaks of the first waves. They've never come back down. And this is since there were breathers in the first year and a half. There's been no breather since December.
Well, late stage capitalism, right?
It's like,
the economy.
As I keep on saying, like I said before, it's like, how can we learn to live with COVID when we're still freaking dying from it?
Well, what was this thing I sent out earlier? It was a cartoon. I'll share it. Hang on, let me pull it up and I'll share it on the screen so everybody can have a look at this, because it's like, oh my. And the worst part is this is from an actual, it's real. It's real what I'm about to show you. So this was a cartoon I shared earlier on Twitter, and just have a look at this, everybody. Yikes.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? I'm like, hey, capitalism, how's it going? 9 body parts you can sell for profit. What?
When funds are tight, sometimes getting a second job or refinancing your home just won't cut it. There's no shame in turning your own body to make extra cash, so long as it's legal.
Jesus Christ. Here's the thing. This is real. I actually cited the Business Insider report from 2012. It's legit.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's 100% legit. It's not, this is not, yeah, it's real. Yeah. This is where we are. Yeah.
Whoa.
Plasma. Oh, here's the best one though. Hair up to $1,000, but of course I can't do that. But well, I can't do that either. Sell my placenta. I don't have that. Whole body. No, that's for medical experimentation. Not going to do that.
Apparently, there's a big need for it.
Although this one is appealing.
No, I heard on the news. Apparently, during COVID, cadaver donations for medical schools have gone down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as appealing as this is an American article, and I don't think you get anything like that in Canada. So, I thought it was kind of funny, and maybe I should just throw that up there so everybody can see it, understand where we are in 2022.
And a total change of mood, the 7-day average death rate. There was no way to segue elegantly.
Oh, there's no.
Has also started to rise. So,
of course it has.
I'm not going to cite the data because there was one day for some reason that was written that there was 1,812 deaths in one day. And I think if that were the case, we would have heard about it everywhere. So I think there might have been an error in input data there. So, but we're going up again. The national test positivity rate as of July 15th was 14.8%. Which is not good based on 73 tests per 100,000 population over the previous 7 days. Okay. So not a lot of tests yet, but a very high rate.
So Ryan's here. I'm going to let him in. He's going to join it.
Wonderful. And to finish the section, finally, random testing of travelers entering Canada resumes today outside of airports at designated locations. The federal government promised that they were going to do this when they suspended it. They said they were going to take them off site. So it's not, they took it away and they're putting it back again. The plan was always to suspend it temporarily for a month to give them time to move it off site. So they're just, right, this is nothing new. Whoever's trying to make you believe there's something new or they're bringing stuff back again or like bovine fecal matter. But they're doing outside of airports at designated locations like pharmacies and stuff like that in Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal, and Toronto when you arrive. Selected people will get an email shortly after passing customs saying that they've been randomly selected. If they test positive, they will have to undergo a 10-day quarantine. Foreign, unvaccinated, or partially vaccinated travelers still have to isolate for 2 weeks, whether they test positive or not. And we'll be back after this.
Oh, there's no commercial, bud. We're a live stream. There's no.
But for the podcast. Oh, it's
okay. True. I'll throw it in later. Ryan, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the show.
That's a true broadcaster right there. He knows where the cuts need to happen, and he can put them in live, and we can just ignore them. My boys, I love you guys. You guys are a fantastic podcast. What is it called? What can I get for my duodenum? Did it list my duodenum? If I list my duodenum,
no, wasn't in there. But I don't need my appendix. Can I sell that?
Second question: what the fuck is a duodenum? I'd like to know.
I don't know, but I did learn it in health class, I think in the 8th grade, and I honestly don't remember what it does.
It has something to do with your stomach and your esophagus.
Yes. When I was a kid, I thought it was a duodenum.
A pair of jeans?
That's two friends wearing jeans.
Yeah.
Buy the duodenum for $39.
Yo.
Get
your denims on. We're going out.
Get your denims on. Put on your dungarees. We're going out.
How are you, fellas? It's
great
to see you.
Better now.
I'm so full. I just ate. That's why I'm late. We barbecued some crazy chicken stuff tonight, and it took forever to finish and get crispy. And I don't sacrifice anything for chicken.
No. And to do chicken properly on the queue, you got to slow roast it.
That's what we do.
I've been to too many barbecues where they throw it on and 15 minutes later, here you go. I'm like, what are you doing? You've just no.
Yeah, it's chicken mush wrapped in a condom, and that's pretty much what it feels like. Yeah, so We don't do that here.
Yeah,
We
life's
take our
too short to
cooking
eat bad
very
food.
seriously.
Yes. Life's too short to eat bad food.
Yeah, right. And like I had this conversation with somebody the other day on Twitter. Somebody that is a well-known doctor. Actually, I'm not going to name them because they agreed with me, and I don't think it would be good for them to agree with what I had said. And I said it ended up in eat the cake, drink the whiskey, and enjoy yourself. The last 15 years are fucked anyway. So. You know, what are you saving it for? Why are you eating the tofu now? Enjoy yourself now. So what? Leave yourself. Leave it on the side of the road and battered in pieces. That's all you need to do.
There's
Y'all started too
to that.
late, people.
Have a good time while you're here.
Well, you know, what's the old saying? You know, I don't want to go into my grave in a perfectly preserved, 25-year-old body while I'm in my 80s. I want to be worn out, thoroughly done, finished, slide into the grave with one foot and a pint of Guinness in the other hand, going, "Woohoo! What a ride!"
Yeah. Rode hard and put away wet. That's the way I want to be described by the coroner. When the coroner takes one more look and goes, "Oh, good job, pal." You know, I said it's funny. I was talking with Spenny. You know, Kenny versus Spenny. Yeah. Spenny was on the show a lot last week with Lachlan being on vacation, and he co-hosted with Dean and I. And he put a tweet out about eating his popcorn with a spoon, and because of the amount of butter that he puts on his popcorn. And I said, I'm the same. My butter amounts on my popcorn can be described as he died prematurely amounts of butter that goes on that popcorn. And I do the same thing. I don't want greasy fingers. I will eat it with a spoon, right? So died prematurely amounts of butter is an actual measurement in my cookbook. So
Spoon still in his mouth.
There are worse ways to go. Was it one of my favorite jokes is, you know, I don't want to. I want to go peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather did, and not screaming at the top of my lungs like all the passengers in his car.
That is good. I like that. I like being like I realize we have a bit of an obligation because we do have an audience and we have, you know, like we have a like to be the pinnacle, like the pinnacle of health, right? Like we make sure that we're promoting the right things to the right people. And if you're under the age of 18 and you're watching this podcast, you should really question your parents' parenting skills. So
I got parents.
So what's going on in the is this the, what do we call this? Is it the Beaver Lodge? Is that what this is? Okay. All right. I'm proud and happy and humbled to be in the Beaver Lodge. What's going on today?
Humbled? Why would you be humbled? Honored, sir. Be honored.
Yeah.
That too.
We're basically dishing.
Yeah, we're just happy to have some company today.
I heard the vaccine list and what is required for your fourth dose, and I just don't understand why we don't have. And I get it; it's a provincial, like it's how we're governed, right? But I don't understand why we don't have a national campaign when it comes to vaccines and public health emergencies. Like, and I understand how the laws work when it comes to federal oversight as opposed to provincial governance law. But can we not just put it down for 10 seconds and say, boys, let's sit at the table. You invited Justin Trudeau without telling him to your premier meeting, and then blamed him for
Prime
not.
Ministers ever attended, by the way.
Yeah, then you blamed him for not coming. And you could have at least thrown that into the pile while you were begging for more money to lose and not have accounted for properly. Mm-hmm. And you could have just said, we really gotta, we have an opportunity. We have seven instances that we can learn from here. Oh, yeah. 6, sorry. We're in the 7th. And we could really do some good if we all just band together and just say, just as Doug Ford says, get it done.
Get it done.
And it could be done. But we can't get over ourselves politically in this country, which really makes me sad. We were never known for that. We were, in the history of our parliamentary system, have we ever been known in a time of crisis to not rally together like we did? Do you guys remember? Let me ask you, and tell me if I'm naive, because you guys are very politically astute fellas, and tell me if this was me being naive. At the beginning of the pandemic, when we didn't know what the hell was going on, we didn't know if up was down, left was right, and the premiers and the prime minister literally looked at each other with the shrugs, going, "What the fuck do we do?"
Yeah.
All right, let's work together. And I actually had like a glimmer in my soul of hope that these guys could have got together and did it. And they did for a bit. Like they really did for like the first 2 or 3 months, until they got bored of it and realized that, it wasn't serving their corporate agendas and what have you. And they were getting their lobbyists back on the phone after they realized that, oh, well, we're not making money, even though people are dying in droves. Was I naive?
No, I don't think so.
Naive about what?
About my hope, like my hope in that, the cooperation.
I was hopeful too, and I actually was watching. The prime minister would come on, and then the premiers would come on, and it would usually be Ford and then Legault, because we're in Ontario, and that would be the process. I don't know how they fed it around the country, but they'd show Horgan, then they'd go out to Nova Scotia, and each provincial premier basically said, the prime minister has our back. He's here. He's going to support us, and he's doing his job. And they all were like, okay, let's get together and cooperate and save lives. And then, 90 days later,
I'm bored with this.
June, why don't we send people back to work now? I know we don't have a vaccine.
Maybe we'll open the schools for a week too.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's really interesting that you open with that, because on previous episodes, right, we have met, and this is fairly, I don't know which wave it was in the pandemic, but we had noted that maybe we should do something when it comes to national public health emergencies. Maybe that is a power that should be removed. Like, a virus works the same way everywhere. Now, depending on the number of people infected and how it's like transmission, okay, yes, it spreads differently in every province. But a virus, we keep on saying, virus gonna virus.
I've always said viruses don't vote.
Yeah, they don't vote. They don't care. You can't negotiate. It's like negotiating with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Jason
Kennedy.
Kenney.
Give us a rest. I need a vacation now. I need to see my mom. I miss her now. I haven't had a birthday in 2 years. No, I haven't had a vacation. No. Virus don't care. A virus is going to virus. It's programmed to do just a simple few number of things, and that's it. Right. And it never gets tired. It never needs a vacation. It will never, right? It's like, so you have to be more determined than it. It's the only way.
And
right?
what does that take? It takes following guidance from people smarter than you, and uniformity, I think.
Yeah. And setting a plan, and sticking, that you have to be nimble when needed, but sticking to it. So one epidemic, 14 different strategies for dealing with it.
Right.
Ridiculous. Okay. Right. Just absolutely ridiculous. Ineffective, ridiculous. And, I felt the same way as you did, when everybody, it was happening. Oh my God, what's this thing happening? We don't know. Everybody's banding together. It's like, oh, wow. And I had that little feeling a bit too, when Trump came around and there was that Team Canada thing, to help the bulwark against that NAFTA thing, when he wanted to try and destroy us.
Yeah.
Right? Let's first destroy them economically, and then we'll get what we want out of life. Like, fuck you, prick.
And then we're taking his water.
It's like, have you met us? So, I mean, no, come on, man.
You're right.
I mean, we don't play that.
Well, then he came up.
We just don't play that. So, but Doug, I was having this conversation with at one point. I said, my Captain Obvious moment of the day, Canada would be much better off without the current governments of Alberta and Saskatchewan. And then immediately, you forgot Ontario. No, I purposely left them out because as we said before, Doug Ford seems to have at least a minimum political survival instinct. He always pivots late, but he does pivot, and every now and then he knows when to be on. He's not always 100% of the time bashing Ottawa, unlike the other two. Sometimes he will cooperate, right?
True.
So it's not the. He
ignores it.
I was just going to say, or he ignores it entirely.
Right.
He just ignores us.
Yeah. So I'm just going to sidestep this one. You guys have it out.
He has no idea that it even exists some days.
Right.
That's great.
That's Ottawa's part of Ontario? No.
Right. So you've got all this and you've got them all going together. And what happened was, and I noticed the moment, right, is the moment we started talking about vaccines being available. Right? It was like within 3 days, we had Michelle Rempel say, no, we're not going to get vaccines till 2030 and blah, 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 like this.
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment where certain people said, okay, we have some vaccines before they had even been mass used. Yes, we had the data from tests, but you never know what might happen. And right, we had like 6 days in, then there was the factory stoppage in Belgium so that they can increase the capacity, and we got affected. So they were like, oh my God, okay, it's off to the races. We've got the vaccine. It's all solved now. It's over. And they immediately started positioning themselves for advantage.
Yes.
The second, until there was a vaccine, until like, oh my God, we're all going to die and there's nothing to save. They were all in the moment. Like this. And you had that. I remember this moment, like Horgan's at the end of this the conference, and he's going like, "Where did the love go?" I'll tell you exactly where the love fucking went.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
No, you're
but the
right.
love went exactly where the first ministers sent it packing when the vaccines were going to be available, and each decided this was the time to position themselves for contrast, and in the process, working against Canadians by trying to create loopholes to get out of the first agreed upon strategy, which has only made COVID last longer, infect more people, kill more people, mutate more, and cost more. It's
correct.
Creating the current mess.
You're looking at a chain that is a perfect way to describe the exact chain of events that we've witnessed here. You're spot on.
We're in the seventh wave. They are asking for more money when we received more money than God over the last 2 years, about $72 billion.
Yeah.
And after that $72 billion in their hands, we've got ERs that are closing.
People sleeping on floors. I retweeted a doctor this afternoon that was talking about patients 2 nights in a row that had blankets on the floor while the ER was closed, because they close during surges now in some areas, right? So some have scheduled closures, which is neat and new for Ontario. That's fun. Not due to like maintenance or anything. This is just due to neglect.
Well, and what's on the headlines? Oh, look at the lineups at the airports because of the CAN access thing. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well,
and what did I
see? A problem they can solve in 2-3 months. That problem will be solved.
That's right. You're right. And what did I see on our friend that Callum, that guy from TikTok? He's great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Callum and JB both today were talking about JB Sheep King. That's also on the network. He shared a video of people, having their rights and holding up the line by being, just willfully obtuse and willfully obstructionist when it comes to using the Can Arrive app or the Arrive Can app, sorry, and the protocol that we have in place, literally taking up an agent's time for 15-20 minutes for them to just keep writing tickets to them saying, here, well, sure, I'll just keep giving you tickets for violating everything. And yet it's the policy that's causing the delays. It's not the assholes.
I want to smack people in the face. Like, come on. I've traveled internationally for 25 years. Okay. Whenever you get off a plane and you're coming home I've gotten into countries easier than I've gotten back into Canada. And that's the truth. That's the truth. You go through customs, you show your passport, anything to declare, you fill out all your paperwork, go stand over there and you wait. You shut up and you sit there and you wait until somebody addresses you. It's no different now. You might just have one more document to fill out. And if you don't like it, why did you travel?
Yeah, you knew it going out. You knew.
But here's the thing, right? I've used the Arrive Can app before this hit, right? We were, actually, while it was right before March happened, my Beaver Sweetie and I happened to go to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And
Yep.
coming back, we used the Arrive Can app. And they're all saying, oh, the Arrive Can app, it's making no. Like everybody who's used this app loves it.
Oh, you know what?
Right?
It's fantastic.
It is
In normal times, it makes things so much easier.
It's absolutely exactly.
Yeah.
So
No more
it's like,
pen on the plane, filling.
if
try
you
to fill the
cannot-
visas out.
But
Doing
here's
this.
the thing. The Conservative Party are losing their mind and want us to change a whole bunch of policy to let more disease in because a certain amount of people can't spend 5 minutes prior to leaving reading about how to use the app.
It's
sorry.
first world white people problems is what I like to call it. It's entitlement. We have always done it this way, and that's the only way I will ever do it.
Yes.
That's the attitude that these folks have decided to dig their heels into, instead of working towards betterment of your society, trying to do the right thing. I'm going to be obstructionist because I feel as though minor inconvenience is tyranny, and it is absolute. What's the
sign
word?
that our government has fallen.
And this is where we're at. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand how we allowed it to get here. Do you remember before the pandemic, boys? We've always had an anti-vax
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
segment of the population, and Canada was never a thing, really. It was, a couple of mommy groups on Facebook, and that's not to disparage mothers. It's literally that's what they call them, the Facebook mommy groups, right? The granola crunchers, and saying that if you drink this essential oil and rub this plant on your feet at night, you're going to be fine from
The wellness
No,
movement.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
It's pseudoscience, right? We've always had a problem with pseudoscience, and that's fine. And we always were able to keep it at bay. Remember, like Gwyneth Paltrow was putting certain rocks in certain parts of her body, saying that it was good for you.
Doctors were saying, don't do that.
What's her name? Jenny McCarthy said that her kid shit out autism once because he ate like Golden Graham cereal. So I can't remember what her stupid story was, but so we've always had it, and we've always, like, as a collective, we've laughed at it. All of a sudden now, mainstream media, certain politicians, because it's pandering, have decided that now's the time during a fucking pandemic that we should listen to these people, and we should hear their views, and we should listen to why they drink urine and why they think that this is why the Ottawa convoy happened. This is why, because we are a tolerant nation. We're a tolerant democracy.
We have certain things like this too. I'm going to share this screen. You'll see it in a couple of seconds when it pops up.
There it is.
Can you please? I'm like, oh, are they trolling? Are they trolling us? They have to be trolling us. This can't be serious. Suspicious of conventional thinking dedicated to original ideas, the Hub is Canada's platform for alternative thought and independent thinkers. Canada's brightest thinkers and sharpest minds. Learn more, the Hub. And they have a picture of Candace Bergen.
Suspicious of conventional thinking. This is that we live in a post-truth
It's just thinking.
reality. We live in a post-truth reality now. And it's because we've allowed it.
Conventional thinking is just thinking. It's everyday normal thinking. That's why they call it conventional. Words have meanings. Like, what the hell, man?
Douglas, I'm not special, so I need to be special now. And that's what this is. This is literally taking the voice. And we've picked the wrong time to do this. Like, if we would have picked to do this in 2017, fucking have at it. Sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Give them their own TV channel. I don't care. Let the CRTC can actually do something for the money that we give them, and you can just run that. They let them talk. But no, we picked during a worldwide crisis to all of a sudden we should platform these people and let them have their voice.
Yeah.
When people are vulnerable, and I'm a student of psychology. I love how the brain works and how and there's no way to actually like pinpoint the A to B when it comes to thought processes. But I ended up taking, I remember right at about halfway point to this point of the pandemic, I enrolled myself at Carleton online for a just to start with psych. And I wanted to know, why the fuck do these people think this way? And it's really interesting the way your brain works. It wants you to come to a resolution immediately. Your brain is not, your body is not programmed. Your brain is not, it's that fight flight response. Your brain is not programmed to deal with ongoing stressors. So what it wants to do is it wants to resolve it. These theories and these whatever conspiracies, these vaccine misinformation, disinformation campaigns, what they do is they offer, and I'll say that the feeble, of quick out in their brain to say, well, obviously it's the government. Yeah. So now that's the problem. The problem is no longer the illness. The problem is no longer the unknown, the novel virus that we dealt with. It is now the government. Okay, boom, brain is fine. Now we're going to move on to dealing with the government and trying to oust them and hang Justin Trudeau and do whatever. Bow to the Queen, Dudula, and move on with our life. It's your brain, and it is. If somebody has a bit of pause and can actually look and see what they're doing, they go, "That's not rational." I'm sorry, brain. You're going to have to wait a minute. We're still working this out.
Right.
Some people try to get that exit lane. They need to get off that highway immediately, and it's so. I did start with a bit of empathy, I guess you can say, towards it. I started very mad, and then I was like, you can't be mad at the entire world, Ryan. You think you're gonna die early from eating butter with a spoon? You're gonna die really early getting mad at these fucking potatoes. Right. So stop it. Try and level with it and figure it out. So I did, and now I'm back to just being mad again because I just can't. I can't, like, there's no changing that. Now we're literally looking at, how do you mass deprogram an entire fucking Western world?
I don't know. And I'm right there with you on that one. I have no empathy for them. I do have compassion. Because
of course,
for these people who so many millions of them have been taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. They've been lied to. They've thrown their entire lives away for nothing. And they're going to lose everything because they're following some grifter. And I have compassion for that. Yeah. I don't have empathy.
I feel sorry for them.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I have pity.
Yeah, pity.
It's just, I'm just so much brokenness. And
how do we fix it?
How do we fix it?
You know, is there a link with the loneliness epidemic and people just need to belong? You know,
it was a perfect storm. I think you're right, Douglas. I think you're right. It was loneliness. It was the unknown, and it was a lack of. It was laziness. It was laziness on the part of a Western spoiled society, where we were so used to just having everything spoon fed to us, and we didn't have to worry. We live in the freest. Hear that, Pierre? Freest country in the world. One of them, anyway.
Yeah.
Top five.
Well, we went up one.
Yeah, I was listening to the news, and there was a recent YouGov survey. Now, this is about the United States, but it was indicating that friendship is becoming less valued. 27% of millennials say they don't have any close friends, and 22% of millennials say they do not have any friends at all.
That's disturbing.
That's scary.
That makes for a horrible existence. I mean, it's like if everyone dedicated themselves at least once a month to going out making themselves a new friend. I mean, this is so. I mean, you know,
fighters and anti-vaxxers and convoyers just looking for community.
But there are elements of like cult and gang, right? That sense of belonging. We'll take you in. We'll take care. We'll give you a sense of family, like this. You know, we'll confirm your beliefs. We'll build you up. That's right. You know, you will have value. You will not be a loser among us. No. You know, and when you're lost or you're broken, like you said, the wanting the quick answers. I mean, you have to be good with ambiguity, and you have to be good with not knowing. Yeah. And I noticed that it's, you know, when you're talking about the psychology, it's the filling in of the blanks, right? You hear these, like there's these stories that come, you see it often in the news, right? You get the first day of news, and like, let's say something that's going to be a scandal, like the SNC thing, like, for example, first day of news. Oh, well, this. Like, it's like, oh, no. What do we actually know for a fact? We know this, and this. And that's all we know. That's all that's in the public domain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't speak to someone's intent. We don't have any data on that. You can't speak to what happened in the in-between time. You can speculate, but you can't say it happened like this.
That's fact now, though.
You are filling in the blanks with what you need to be true to tell yourself the narrative so that there is no longer ambiguity. This is what's going on here.
In a realist world, I agree. But that's not the world we live in anymore when it comes to, and I shouldn't say that. I hate generalizing it to that point, because I know the majority of people would relate to the conversation we're having tonight.
Yes.
And the problem is they don't have podcasts. They don't have, because they're like, whatever, I'm just getting on with it. I'm fucking tired of this. I'm tired of COVID too. We're all tired of COVID. We're all tired of restrictions. We're all tired of hearing about it. That's what I don't think they understand, is nobody loves this. I'm sure there's some like ultra lefty people that like to lay under their bed scared every day. Absolutely. Just like there's right wing nut jobs doing the absolute opposite on the other side. Yeah, that's how the world works. Those are the minority. Right. And the majority is usually a pretty centrist group of people. And
yes, especially in this country, right?
Yeah. And these political parties, they recognize that and they prey on it. Mm-hmm. And they prey on trying to get those fence sitters to fall over the fence on one side of the yard or the other. And the rest of us are falling victim to it. The people that are in long-term care right now, over 100 homes in Ontario still don't have fucking air conditioning right now. Right. We're laying on fucking hospital floors waiting to see a doctor for 2 days. Did you hear about the guy? We talked about this on the Dean Blundell show. Did you hear about the guy with the broken leg? Broke his leg, 75-year-old man, broke his leg on a Sunday, still didn't see a doctor by fucking Thursday, and wasn't given any meds. Like literally laid and it was a makeshift room. It wasn't even a real hospital room. What they did was they made a room in the hallway, so I guess we can't call it hallway medicine, with plastic sheeting and one fluorescent light over his head that never shut off for 4 fucking days. He's 75 years old. Yeah. And this is Canada. Yeah. This sounds like a war room it sounds like a war zone hospital.
Not acceptable.
It's insane.
And in any way, shape, or form is that A, acceptable, and B, should anybody be allowed to get away with treating him like that?
Absolutely not.
Government needs to be held responsible for it.
Agreed.
Yeah. And somebody has to answer for that. And that's not even touching on the number of people who have died unnecessarily because they couldn't get treatment because Doug just keeps cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. So all he's trying to do is break our public system to bring in the grocery store magnate that owns a drugstore because they've started their own healthcare agency.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You can get points on your appendectomy.
Great.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right in your frustration and your outrage is I actually think it's pretty toned down to where this province should have been prior to that provincial election. But again, what did we do? We watched the media, post media especially, and the Sun and those places say, surgery backlogs. What caused the surgery backlogs? COVID restrictions. Why are we still having fucking restrictions 7 waves later? Let's go back to the root. The problem is when you're doing root cause analysis, you have to get to the root cause. You can't just stop halfway down the route. You know what I mean? So, I agree with you. And we can do this over and over and over again. All we're gonna do is we're gonna end up. Luckily, Douglas still has his hair. Paul and I don't. We've pulled it all out.
Yep.
This is where we are, you know?
Yep. So the thing for me, it's like the underreported and the underappreciated part of the whole story about the First Minister's meeting, coming up together and asking for more money and asking where did the love go, right? Is the fact that they're the ones that went out for a pack of smokes and never came back.
Yeah.
They're the ones that left the frickin' marriage.
Yeah.
It's not the government of Canada. They're still buying the vaccines. They're still shipping them to them. Theresa Tam's still telling people to wear masks, and Nasi's still telling people to get the second boosters. They're just not listening.
Yeah.
When
They
have
decided
battle-hardened army medics who are suffering PTSD from how they saw seniors in long-term care homes in Ontario, that's got to tell you something. I mean, these are medics who served in Afghanistan and Bosnia and have seen war zones. They've been to Haiti. They've seen hell. And they have PTSD from the suffering they witnessed in the province of Ontario, the richest, most populous province in the country, that submits more tax dollars to federal coffers than any other province, right? All the wealth is here. I know Alberta's pissed when you hear it. Don't get mad at me. It's a fact. It's just sheer numbers. It's sheer numbers. Okay? When you have PTSD suffering medics, army medics who have seen hell, are suffering after they've seen seniors who were lying in feces and urine for days, sweating and dying of COVID, locked in their own rooms. What the fuck is happening in Canada?
Yeah.
I can't be polite about it. I lose my shit on this.
Yeah.
That could be me someday, and it very well will be.
Well, that
there
hospital
before the grace, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That hospital we talked about on our last week's episode in Perth that had closed down for a weekend. Apparently now it's closed for a 15-day stretch.
Yeah.
What?
A few days later, about 2 days before the show aired, I heard Dr. Drummond on the air again saying that now this time it had been closed for a 15-day stretch. You know?
Yeah.
So we're at the meeting, and I'm sorry, Mr. Grizzly doesn't have these quotes because I had them in a separate document, so they're going to have to come from me today.
But I like this part. I like these. I actually love watching this. This is my favorite part of your show. Just so you know,
I would stop if we were recording. I would just recording that video. I would just stop it and then send it to him, and so to give him to him. But
do your job, Bear.
Yeah. So, but there are, if you'll indulge me, there are a variety of quotes, and I have some answers for them. John Horgan, BC Premier. We're reinforcing today unanimity in our desire to have the federal government call a meeting. We'll arrive, could be halfway or midway or whatever place the federal government wants to meet. We'll be there. And we can sit down and solve these problems for Canadians, not for provinces and not for the federal government, for Canadians. It's like, what a freaking load of crack.
Well, and that's
okay.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Right. Okay. Just right. This whole, anyway, you want no strings attached money. That's not for our benefit. Okay. So go take a seat.
Yeah.
Then, where was the next one? Oh, yes. If they are not acknowledging the crisis in the communities across the country, they're asleep at the switch, quite frankly, and we invite them to come to talk to us about how we can work together to get the outcomes Canadians deserve. Also, John Horgan, yeah, let's insult you and then invite you. Let me get right on that.
I know I always go to a dinner party after the host tells me to go fuck myself too.
Oh, here, I brought mild poison. Here you go.
Here's a new Pinot.
Because, they start out claiming it's like, you only give us 22% when it should be 35, and it's like Jean-Yves Duclos. Do you remember those tax points that we gave up and that you just took up, which is like the very exact definition of no strings attached money? Right.
So good.
And then the $72 billion and then the $2 billion that we're giving you for wait times and for backlogs and all that. It's like, we're paying 40, dude. So again, you show up at a meeting like this and you say, we want to work together. Come to the table like this. They only pay 22 when really they pay 40. It's like, they're never there for us. They never support us. Like this, you're asleep at the switch. You're like,
always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Why what freaking twisted, torqued up strategy is that?
It's Uncle Justin. Uncle Justin. I need more at Christmas next year because I broke the toy you gave me already.
Yeah.
Well, I just gave it to you. It's worth a lot of money, little Dougie. Why did you break that? Shit. I need another one. And a better one this time. And I promise I won't break it this time.
Until next time.
Until next time. Exactly. It's fucking hilarious. It is. It's like watching petulant family members at Christmas, like those spoiled, rotten pieces of shit that we all have in our family. Go ahead, it's okay. You can acknowledge it. It's true. Yeah. You know I'm right. Yeah. And you're always like sitting there with your eggnog in your moose cup here in the lodge, and you're sipping it, going, "Oh man, you are a piece of shit, you kid. I don't care if you're 8, you're a piece of shit." And you're sipping, and then you're looking, and you see the other kids. Some of them are okay, but there's always one or two at that family that you just want to punt. You want to punt them out the front door into the cold, snowy, slushy, and it's okay to feel that way about your premier of your province, because that's exactly where we are.
Yep.
You're dealing with petulant fucking toddlers.
Yep.
Well, where's the 4 billion?
Right.
The 4 billion.
Well, we're getting there. Don't worry about that. Then you got Fury from Newfoundland and Labrador, who not as bad as the others, but it's like, what's not fake is the fact that Canadian healthcare system is in crisis. We see it in every province. That's not fake.
Thanks,
Nobody
Tips.
said it was, honey.
Thanks, Tips. Okay, Captain Obvious.
Okay. Then
we would have told you about the finger.
Did you guys know there's a pandemic?
Right. Then you got Kenny. If they've got something to say to us about conditions, come sit down and say it. But so far, it looks like they're just racking the puck because they have no intention of paying their share. No. They've told you. They've told you to your face what it is about the conditions. We give you money and you don't spend it on health, you dumb. So, yeah, we want to make sure. We're going to do a little trust but verify now. They've told you.
Temporary part-time assistant weekend trailer park supervisor Randy Kenny is all hat and no cattle is what that guy is. And he's in the right province to have that moniker. And that's why he's on his way out. And I swear what he's doing now is just to try and paint. It's a sculpture. Okay. The UCP is a sculpture of a man. Okay. Well, let's use an analogy. It's a sculpture of a man, and on his way out, he's grabbed his finger paint, trying to paint a set of balls on it before he leaves, without grabbing the clay and actually putting something, like putting a set of nuts on the fucking statue. He's got his finger paint trying to and be a tough guy. Remember when he couldn't get the fucking gas nozzle out of his truck? Yeah. Okay, tough guy. Enough. You know, like he's the definition of all hat and no cattle.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then I saved the best one for last, of course.
Oh, can we guess which province it is?
Go ahead.
Okay, Paul?
A place to live, a place to grow. Ontario.
I'm going to say Legault. I'm going to say Legault.
Oh, yes. I did forget about him. He had a good one, but that's...
It's Ontario?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Oh, darn. Yes. But, you were...
Yeah. Sorry. So the official honorary spokesperson of Tim Hortons and part-time premier of Ontario had to say...
Unfortunately, I laughed so
sorry.
But it was something like, come to the table anytime. We'll meet you anywhere, anytime, and we'll just sit down and talk about this. Okay?
That's a great Ford. I don't think you realize how close of a Ford you came to there without trying. That was perfect. Hey, humana.
It's like, of course you're going to belly up to the table for more no strings attached money, a portion of which you're going to just like misplace, and another portion of it that you're not actually going to spend on health and apply to the deficit, and then another portion you're going to go Lord knows hell with. Of course you're ready to come to the table. This is nothing new. You're not bacon. Like, you've got these 13 people pretending that they're living in a freaking opera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like,
let me shave your mop.
Like, you just need the money to help.
I got a real Bugs Bunny thing going.
Don't ask it where it's going to go, and don't put any conditions. But really, it's for the people.
Guys, we are on
off the world's shortest pier.
We are on the highway to hell, but at least we're going to save 30 seconds getting there. Good thing. It's fine.
Yes, but his billionaire donor friends are going to make a lot of money developing those communities along that highway that nobody
No
wants
kidding.
Oh, there we go.
through the
I
green
found it.
belt. You found it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come to the table. We'll meet you anywhere, anytime. All 13 of us will put our schedules aside to sit down and start the discussions.
Friends,
Bike rack,
folks,
4 p.m.
friends, folks.
Be there.
By the swings.
You're fucking
so
asshole.
dead.
What an asshole.
It's just, I mean, come on, dude. And here's this thing, right?
Is there a bike rack in Muskoka?
He calls that one on the phone too, I guess.
Oh, that's
He had Bluetooth.
The CP's on the phone.
He had a Bluetooth carved into that snowmobile helmet, by the way.
Yeah.
okay.
That's where it was.
So here's the thing that's chapping my ass like this, and I've been thinking about it all the time, and then we didn't get to say it like this, and now it sounds like I stole it from Supriya Dwivedi because she's absolutely brilliant. But it's true, right? I say you've got a bunch of
Divas.
I'm sorry, it's like, but it just makes me. You got a bunch of fuckers
Yeah.
that are out there, okay, bande de crasseurs, as we say in French, like this, who are out there, and they're saying we need more money, but we're not going to do sweet fuck all to stop this epidemic from spreading.
Yeah.
So we're taking action to make everything cost more. Then we're asking you to finance us to fix it, what it is that we broke, and what it is we have no idea how to fix, clearly, because we've had 7 goes at it and we still haven't got it right. I'd be sitting there like this. I'd be like that, the mother, and it's like, no, you're not getting another cent out of me. You don't deserve it. You wouldn't freaking know what to do with it, even if I gave it to you.
Could you imagine? Could you guys?
They
Sorry,
don't
I
know
just
what
had
to
this
do
thought.
with it.
It's the most obvious thought, but I haven't had it up until now. Could you imagine if there was a conservative prime minister right now dealing with these guys?
Well,
You would have told them to go fuck their hat months ago.
No wonder Stephen Harper didn't meet with them. And here's the thing. But here's the other thing, right?
Busy that weekend, boys. Sorry.
Yeah. I got a thing.
The other thing is that
This church thing.
Like they're doing nothing to stop the virus from mutating. They're doing nothing from stopping from spreading. They're letting people get sick, right?
Yeah.
Who would give more money to that? Why wouldn't the federal government demand strings?
Throwing good money after bad. And this is why I was always asking, why aren't we calling for the Emergencies Act 2 months into this pandemic?
Ooh.
Why didn't they actually enact it then, where the feds could have taken over and unified the country in a response? And don't get me wrong, Canada, you know what? I'm fucking proud of this country for what we have done on our own.
Yes.
By the way, without, having to listen. And it was one of those, I swear to God, most of the level-headed Canadians in this country listen to the politicians and went, we're going to do exactly opposite of what those fucking idiots said. And we're going to listen. We'd listen to doctors. I curse social media a lot, but I thank it right now for a lot of this as well, because a lot of those doctors got loud and really loud, and they got really, really vocal. They got really pushy about, and this is where
tend to get pissed when you get in the way of do no harm.
Yeah, and you're fucking them. It'd be like you at your job, right? You're sitting there doing your job, and there's just somebody that's just throwing more work at you. Just It's like, you don't have to do that. Nah, fuck it. I like doing this. This is what I like. This is how I like to live. I like to make life worse for everybody around me. While I do not. Do you see my work pile? Empty. Here's some more for you, fuckface. That's how that felt, right? So these doctors are like, fuck you. And they went to Twitter. They went to whatever, TikTok. There was doctors on goddamn TikTok. And what was the response from the right? Oh, they're all big pharma. They're getting paid by big pharma.
Crisis actors.
Do you know what?
It's not really that. It's not as bad as they say.
The reason why that you don't die at the age of 35 is because of big pharma, you fucking idiots. You know what I mean? And no, they're not all on the take. Yes, there are People that are agenda driven by money. Absolutely. Not as much in Canada as it is in the US, because we are not on that sort of a system of healthcare. So when you hear a Canadian doctor who's drowning, whose wife wants him to fucking move out of the house because she's tired of him or her, they don't want to deal with this anymore because you're fucking that guy's family. He's tired and he's upset, and he's like, I think of Dr. Yanni Freeman, and he's on Twitter, and he is the most vocal, and he's gotten to the point of he has zero fucks. He has zero fucks left for any of them. Look at Dave Fissman, who was on the Ontario Science Table, zero fucks when he left. He couldn't take anymore. He says, no, you know what? What do you say to that? Oh, he's on the science table. He's biased. Okay, but he left the science table and he's still saying the same fucking thing. So how is he biased? What's he doing? He's trying to fucking warn. He's ringing the bell. Why are you not hearing the bell? Why are you listening to politicians, high school hash dealers, as opposed to people with multiple PhDs that are trying to save your fucking life and save this country and province from demise?
And that's the
thankfully
thing, right?
We're rich. You know what? And the only reason why we haven't defaulted into a fucking pit is because we were rich on the way into this.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? It's like they're like tyranny. It's like, dude, we're trying to save your life.
Yeah.
You're not trying to kill us.
When's the last time you heard of a tyrant rolling out a emergency benefit and just giving everybody money? I'm thinking back to if you give me a second, I'm thinking back to what was his name? I reference him all the time, and for some reason I'm drawing a blank. Who was the one, the dictator with his wife that they shot in the alleyway right in the head? Ceausescu. Nikolai Ceausescu. I'm thinking back to Ceausescu while him and his wife were eating steak and his country was starving. That's a dictator, folks, and that's tyranny, folks. That's how that works, folks. And you know how tyranny is dealt with? The way they were. They brought them in front of a kangaroo court because they were fucking tired of it. They went, you two, you're guilty. This court, I don't recognize it. No problem. The bullet will recognize your fucking face in a second. Let's go out in the back alley, and you get shot. And my favorite side fact from that, they all, in their witness depositions when they were talking in front of the tribunals, said she stunk. She had like really bad BO. And so I was like, I don't know why I found that so funny. Like, she's wearing a fur coat, but she smelled like a fucking putana. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it. It was my favorite part of that. And that's how tyranny works.
Yeah.
What we're in right now, nobody's handing out free money with no checks and balances at the beginning of a crisis in a tyrannical state. That's not what happens in a tyrannical state. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I got into it the last time they were here, Canada Day. There was one guy tried to have a rational conversation with him. And he went, well, vaccines are poison. I go, the only reason you're alive is because of vaccines. That's not true. You have probably about 20 or 30 of them in your body right now. That's not true. Then you wouldn't have been able to go to school. Were you homeschooled? No, I went to public school. Then shut up.
Yeah.
They don't know without them. Number one. Number two, 150 years ago, the average life expectancy was 35.
Yeah.
Some people lived way beyond that, but the problem was the curve was dropped down because of the amount of children that died between the ages of birth and 12 from what are now eradicated and preventable diseases because of vaccination.
That are making a comeback, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know. Because people won't get their kids vaccinated.
Yeah.
Polio was back in the UK. Polio.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Spinning in his grave.
Welcome back. You know what I mean? Like, and I always tell people, if you want a clear representation of vaccine history, next time you're visiting grandma and grandpa in the grave, I want you to walk to where the little tiny headstones are.
Yeah,
and it's the saddest walk you'll ever take. And I understand that, but I want you to go for a fact-finding mission. And your fact-finding mission, if you choose to accept it, is to look at the dates on those headstones. And I want you to correlate the dates that you see, because they're going to be a very similar group of dates. And then go to Google, and I want you to Google vaccinations. I want you to Google pandemics. I want you to Google epidemic. and put that just the year, like grab the average year that you saw in those little tiny little baby graves, and you're going to learn a hell of a lot of what happened in the history of vaccines and why we're all here and why your kids are here and why you're fucking here. It's a very, very sobering way to figure it out, but you'll figure it out real fast.
Yeah. Well, here's one for you. I had to look this up because I remember when I toured the Guinness storehouse in Dublin a couple of years back, they talked about how the reason he started brewing the beer was to give Dubliners good beer to drink, and it wasn't because it was to get drunk.
Right.
It's because the water was poison.
Yeah.
They didn't know that brewing beer purified the water. They didn't know. Beer saved Europe. There's a documentary about it. It's a tongue-in-cheek documentary, but it's all factual. Yep. Arthur Guinness had 23 children, 10 lived. He buried 13 children.
Why? Playing the odds, I guess.
Well, I mean, back then you had children because you needed them to take care of you, raise them. Of course,
it's because they didn't have cable. That's why they had so many kids. They had nothing else to fucking do, Paul.
Well, Irish Catholics too, eh? But yeah, he buried 13 children because they all died in childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, from today's preventable diseases. People go, well, they ate, it's, I just eat all organic. I don't like to eat chemicals. Let me explain something to you. Everything is chemicals. Period. Mm-hmm. Period. Yeah.
Everything you eat is chemicals, whether you like it or not. Some are combinations that create something that's borderline plastic, and they call it a cheese spreadable product that the bugs won't eat if you leave it out on the sidewalk, nor will any of the animals. They'll look at it and walk away.
Yeah.
It's edible. It's an edible oil product, but
yeah, it goes on the top of your ice cap, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
No, seriously, Tim Hortons doesn't have whipped cream. Tim Hortons has an edible oil product, and you watch these granola crunching idiots while they're out there smoking their darts and drinking their ice cap, going, "It's all natural. I don't know what's in it. I'm not doing that." Like.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a guy. I'm not getting the vaccine. I don't know what's in it. I'm like, I have watched you snort cocaine off the back of a tank in a strip joint in Aylmer. You fucking idiot.
That's my favorite. We all know those people. We all know them. This
was a guy you would be at a party, and if you handed him something, he would take it. Hey, you want a drink? Sure. What's in it? I don't care. And he just drink. Like, dude, are you out of your mind? Like, I am. My drug is whiskey or alcohol, beer, wine, whiskey. That's my drug. I've never smoked anything. I've never taken any drugs that were not prescribed by a doctor under medical care.
You've never smoked weed?
No, never. I'm allergic to it, though. So.
How would you know?
I've been tested.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you no edibles, no nothing?
No. I figured it out many, many years ago when I was around people in the secondhand smoke. I just eyes would swell up and I'd start coughing my lungs. It's like it's worse than tobacco smoke. Yeah.
Really? What about you, Douglas? Do you smoke weed?
Yes.
Or do you like now? Like you're cannabis consumer?
Yes.
I can't smoke it.
I had a medical prescription for it way before, like when Health Canada had the first.
You were everybody's friend back then, eh?
No. I really didn't want to lose it, so I didn't tell anyone.
Oh wow.
Oh no. I was. You have to understand, right? It's like I was super square.
I don't believe you.
I've about 2 or 3 times in my life, I've drunken enough that I probably should not be let near a toaster. But that's probably the most drunk I've ever been in my life. I've never actually been drunk that I don't remember what's happened, stopped caring where I looked, how I got home, how my clothes got off. I've never been shit-faced in my entire life. I was very, very square. I don't think I remember my foster brothers would smoke pot all the time in the basement. I'm sure I got a contact high at one point when I was like 12 or 13 or something, but I never actually smoked one myself until I was 29. I was very, 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 very square and straight edge.
Okay. This just confirms that I have to come. Dancing?
Dancing was my drug. I could get it on the dance floor at 10 p.m. and get off at 3 and never come off except for to go get one or two things of water, and just all that was my drug.
If I'm dancing, everybody else needs to have drugs, because it's not a good sight at all. And this just solidifies the fact that I have to come to Ottawa this summer to see you boys and and straighten this out. Yeah, I used to smoke. I smoked it in high school, right? Like it was like just like, you know, what did we have back then? Like we're talking about like the early 90s. I'm a young buck, and it was like ditchweed, right? Like it was just like that Mexican ditchweed they used to call it, and it wasn't like it would get you a little high. You get the giggles and everything else, and then as I grew up and grew out of it, I had my dance with some other shit too, and that was very quick and very fast, and thankfully it never amounted to much. And then I met my wife, and Ashley partakes, and it was my birthday, the first birthday that I had celebrated with Ashley. Like we had met in like we'd met prior, but we started dating in like the February, March. My birthday's in May. And we went out, we had a very quiet evening. We went to like this little, and it was actually called the Speakeasy. It used to be an actual, Hamilton's known for organized crime, and we have a lot of mafia families here. And it was actually one of their speakeasy locations that was sold to a business developer who made it into an actual speakeasy bar that was licensed, right? So it was really cool. Went and saw some acoustic dude just jam his nuts off. We ran into some friends. We didn't have like a crazy night. We had a couple of drinks. I was bought one shot. So I was like two drinks and a shot in, and we got home. And I said, let's pour some Caesars. It's 11 o'clock. It's still early. It's my birthday. I said, why don't you spin us up one of those joints that you got there, and I'll totally partake in that. It's my birthday. I'm still a young buck. Let's do this. Did you guys know that they broke weed? Did you guys know that they actually broke weed? Probably, I don't know when, maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s. Somebody broke it. Somebody took it, broke it from the old skunky, shitty ditchweed and made it into this absolute plane ticket shuttle rocket bullshit. So I can't smoke it either. Just so you know, Paul, I can't smoke weed, but I can eat it.
Okay.
And I can eat it like a champ. And I've done podcasts from my couch because I was scheduled to be a guest somewhere and happened to have taken an edible. And I have this weird thing where sometimes it'll hit me that day, like, 45 minutes to an hour in. And then there's other times where it'll actually sit somewhere. I don't know where it hides, probably in my duodenum. And it'll hide until the next day. And if I eat, as soon as I eat, it's like it reactivates it. Don't ask about the times I've been in my office at my grown-up job where it's fucked me for the, like, I'm like sitting there going, please, nobody talk to me in my, like, please put my out of office on. I'm in a meeting, all day training, guys, leave me alone. So I can eat it and at least still feel in control, but I cannot smoke it. And it's not because of an allergy. It's because I will fall down. Like I passed out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just a quick side tidbit, fun. And we've been pretty serious for the last little bit. I just wanted to add some levity and say, if you got weed, you probably need it right now in the province of Ontario, especially. Wow. Alberta, you're trailing second, and don't ask Horgan for any because he doesn't have any to give.
Yeah.
It's a mess, man. It's a mess.
It is, right?
Yeah.
What do we do though?
Well,
we do this.
We do this to
Yes.
help cope, help inform, because we will give you our opinion on stuff as asides, but we're going to give you straight facts. Right. And this is something that we talked about when we started this a year and a half ago, something like that, year and a half ago. I said, no, factual. Yes, we will give our opinions, but we're going to read quotations and give you facts so that you will know when we go off script, this is our personal opinion on something that we have just told you about. So we're here to inform you as much as we can and do it in as lighthearted a fashion as possible. But I think
to share your frustration.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think one of the things we have to do, and as evidenced by the most recent horrible turnout for the Ontario election, is make voting compulsory in Canada, period. Like they do in Australia. They started in 1924 in Australia. Their turnout is never less than 94%.
I have an idea. I'm with you in theory.
Mhm.
But I don't know about the compulsory. But you know what? What if we did the same thing as we do with the carbon tax credits?
Mhm.
If you vote, you get a rebate.
Yep.
What about like an
Propose this on the show
incentive
as
to
well?
vote? And the problem is, and somebody has brought this up, and they make a valid point with that, and that is, so say the Liberals put that in, so you're going to vote for Liberals because they put it in, and the Conservatives are going to say we're going to take that out because they think it's a horrible idea, and the only reason why they think it's a horrible idea is because they'll lose every fucking election. So that being said, compulsory is probably a more effective nonpartisan way of doing it, but it sounds, again, tyrannical and dictatorish if we're telling you, but you know what? We tell you to do a lot of things that you don't complain about.
But see, I don't, for that one, I don't get. I mean, as Canadians, right, we get to live in, I think, the best country in the world, but let's say
agree.
arguably the best country in the world.
I agree.
And all that's really, we have no conscription.
No.
No.
We have no mandatory sort of Peace Corps or volunteerism component or anything like that.
No, but we have a healthy
really asked to
military,
do
which
two
is nice.
things. We're
These
asked to
people
do
love
two-
this country.
Yes.
Yeah. We're asked to do two things: serve on a jury when it's needed, and vote. Three things: serve on a jury when it's needed, fill out the census, and vote.
Well,
That's literally all we are asked to do. Like
we
this,
filled out the
in order
census
to
in
get
such
all of
record
this.
numbers, we crashed Stats Canada's website.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
we
mean,
like doing that. We
Love
do.
the census, right? So
Right.
now you got to vote.
So now I have a question. So it goes along with that to both of you. Why have we not, why aren't we funding this? Online voting.
Oh,
Why
no.
aren't we doing this?
No.
Why?
It's
Too
there's
easy to have.
Yeah.
As soon as you mention it, it's like 70%. It's there's no appetite for it. It could just, people like the paper and pencil. There's a copy. I mean, especially what we've seen in the United States, things can be hacked. I mean, in the United States, they were printing ATMs type machines that did not print receipts. Every ATM type machine in the world gives you a receipt.
Yeah.
But they were trying to come up with some type of voting machines that you would go and vote, would not give you a record of how you voted.
Yeah. See, that's
Like
not
they were trying
cool.
to make that a thing.
Yeah, that's see, that would be and now that you say that, like if you actually had like a more convenient way of doing it, because don't get me wrong, our elections are fantastic, believe it or not. For something that's run by a branch of the government, it's done very well. And it's done efficiently. It's done. I think normally federally, they're pretty well spaced, and they're pretty well laid out. Provincially, that's another story. Like we saw in the last one, where polling stations were closed down.
Yes.
We were looking at American style rigging of Mandarin, like gerrymandering, and it was horrible. So I'm not opposed to something like you say, like that ATM style idea, as long as it does give you a record of what you've done. I remember. Do you guys remember when they had Service Ontario kiosks?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know why they don't have Service Ontario kiosks anymore? And this kind of like goes against my point of online voting, because you're right about fraud. I was a private investigator, and we used to run plates. We actually had a software service that would run a plate for us. It cost us money, and it was registered. Like our inquiries were registered as to who is inquiring on the plate. And it would cost you like $30 a hit, right? So we would charge it back to a client. It wasn't a big deal, but sometimes you actually wanted to know some things that were ancillary to the investigation, and you didn't want it to go through the client. You didn't, like, the client's like, why am I paying for this? Who the fuck is this guy? Like one of those. So when Service Ontario put those kiosks in, we found a loophole in them where I could go and take your license plate and pop it in to renew your sticker. And then it would ask me for my payment method. So I would take a dummy prepaid Visa and pop it in. And then it would ask me to confirm my information before I renewed the plate. And it would give me my name and my address and my everything that was registered to the plate. And all I would have to do is hit cancel. I had my information. I didn't get charged, and there's no record of the inquiry. And it went well for like a year. Like I probably ran 1,000 plates that year and didn't pay for it. There was no record of it. So, and it was, I understand what you're saying. There's always somebody that's going to find a loophole when it comes, especially when it comes to governments. And I just think we need to incentivize it more because, and this is where old democracy and new democracy comes. Like ask somebody in the Ukraine. Don't say the Ukraine.
I know. It's a hard habit to break.
That's a Russian thing. Ask somebody in Ukraine if they're going to vote in the next election. I'll guarantee you 99% of them are going to vote.
Okay.
It's because they're a young democracy and they cherish it. They saw it born. They saw it grow. They fought for it. They're fighting for it now with their lives. Then you get old Canada here, that's been around for, as long as the tooth is long, and they say, whatever. It's just how it is. Whatever. It's mine. I'm entitled to this. Karen, call the manager of Canada. I'm not happy. That's what happens here in an old democracy, and that happens everywhere in an old democracy. And this is how revolutions start, and it's disgusting. I know it sounds, and then it's because we get bored, we get entitled, and we don't give a shit because we just think it's there every day. It's like we think the lights are going to turn on in the morning. We think that the sun's coming up, and it's going to
work flawlessly when you get up in the morning.
That's right, and that's one day it doesn't work.
And the whole country shuts down.
As we just seen a few days ago.
Which is why we got to break up the oligopolies, and we should have a national high-speed internet service provider.
Oh my God!
But we saw how everybody lost their mind for one day.
Yeah. And that was
now there was real danger and real risk as well.
Absolutely. Right? When 911 services were being routed to Buffalo, and like Buffalo, like somebody in Lackawanna or Skidjackwada County is taking a 911 call from somebody in like Windsor.
Yeah.
And like what, and they don't know what to do. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There was real risk there. Plus the I'll take the conservative route, the money.
Yeah.
The money.
Well, think of all the small businesses that's all of a sudden they've gone through COVID. And they're going to lose a Friday in July.
Didn't have this on the bingo card.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you've lost an entire day's sales, and in some cases 2-3 days sales.
Yeah. Dean Blundell's parents, 11 days without the internet.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. They've already trashed their service. Yeah. If you read Dean's got a post or a tweet thread about it. They live out in like rural Western Ontario area, and they got smoked for like the entire time. Like, yeah, it was bad. Wow. So you're right. And what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
We complain on Twitter is what we do, because
compulsory voting. I don't know how to go about it, and then I've had some people say, "Well, why don't you run?" I'm like, no. I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not doing that. A, I don't have the money. B, I'm broke. C, if it doesn't work out, then what do I do? I swear to God, only sociopaths run for politics. It really is. It's selfish, sociopathic, and egocentric people run for politics. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that every single one of them goes in that way.
No.
Like some people do go in naive, mm-hmm. and they pay their $100 or whatever. They get their 100 signatures. They walk in, they buy some lawn signs, they go knock on some doors, and then and if they happen to get in and they look around, they go, "What the fuck did I just do? Where am I? I'm not getting anything done that I thought I was going to get done. I came in here with the right intent, and you're already lost. You're already gone."
Ask John Nunziata how he feels about that. Right?
Yeah.
There was a good man who went in there and served his constituents well. And he was told when he was young, if you just toe the party line, you could advance. And he goes, "I'm not here for that.
Yep.
I'm here to represent my constituents. And he swam against the tide. And then he asked the prime minister, Jean Chrétien, a simple question. You promised to abolish the GST. Why have you not done it? And what did Jean do? He dismantled the riding.
Yep.
They had to have a by-election. Of course, he won in a landslide victory as an independent. But that was it. They ended his political career because as soon as that term was up, he was finished. He was done. I think he sells cars now.
I'd buy a car from John Nunziata. He was a good dude. He was a normal guy. He was a regular Joe. Like he was like you and me. And it was that's who I mean that gets in disillusioned and they show up with the purest of intent. They're frustrated like you and I are. Like the three of us sitting here. Oh, you guys should. And we hear it all the time. I was on the executive board of an NDP riding for federal and provincial in my city for a while, and I left because it was my closing remarks that this is bullshit, and I left. I'm like, this is not at all what you guys portray in your big smiley campaigns and everything else. There's no fighting the machine that it is. So you either. I don't know if you can infiltrate it. I don't think you can. Or you toe the line. And you have to toe the line to get into a position where you can make change. Exactly.
And then how much change can you make once you get there because of the backroom deals you had to make and associate with people that you wouldn't have a cup of coffee with outside of this position. I remember about 20 years ago, something like that. That was about 25 years ago. I was at a Canada Day party at my friend Vanessa's place, just a few blocks from here. And there was a young lad. She knew him from high school. He was a year or two younger. And he was just entering in September, he was starting poli-sci at Ottawa U. And this guy, his eyes were this big. And he couldn't wait to get in and make a difference and change the world. And I just thought, good luck, man.
You poor son of a bitch.
I really hope he make a difference, knowing full well what he was walking into. And sure enough, a year, maybe 2 years later, I saw him, and he was dead inside.
Yeah,
2 years. He was going into year 3, and you could see that fire in his eyes. It had gone out.
Yeah,
he was dead inside.
Yeah,
and I had a conversation with him, and he goes, "It's all corrupt." He goes, it's all backroom deals. All anybody wants to do is better themselves. They don't give a shit about any of their constituents. And he goes, you have to make deals with people that are greasy slime bags just so you can get 2% over here to improve your constituents' lives. I can't. He's like, I don't know. I go, finish your degree and then figure it out.
Can you imagine any other job where you would constantly every 4 years wonder if you've got a job tomorrow, and what you would do to ensure that your lifestyle that you've become accustomed to stays the same? This is human nature. It's instinct. It's instinctual survival. It's instinctual to not. We fear change. Everybody fears change. There's no, and unless you are independently wealthy, going into politics, you're going to be. It's this that mentality is going to always be in the probably foreground rather than background. Have you guys watched The Boys?
Yeah,
you guys watched The Boys?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I hadn't watched it either, and I promise this ties in. And I hadn't watched it. I've never been a superhero guy. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm like, this isn't interesting. Though. Well, hang on. I say this every time, and this is really funny when I say this. But you know when you're like hung over on the couch and you're like flipping through the channels and Spider-Man's on, you're like, you just leave it on, and it's like, this is actually a really good movie. One of those, but I've never been I don't gravitate towards it. So the guys on the podcast are telling me you have to watch The Boys. The Boys is different. The Boys is different. So I'm like, okay. I found out that the main character, the main superhero guy, the I'm not going to spoil it just in case anybody hasn't seen it, actually did his character study of Donald Trump. Donald Trump was his character study, and he's a superhero. Now, if that doesn't tell you something about the show and why I was hooked after the first episode, I said, this is a political show. This show is all about politics. Who cares about the superpowers? Like, yes, they're there, and the graphics are pretty well, graphic, very graphic. And, that is secondary to the plot of the show. And it's all about politics, and it's all about optics, and it's all about, this is how you get that. Remember that Starlight shows up, and it's funny how her name is. She shows up and she's bright-eyed, a little girl from Idaho or wherever she was, Indiana, and she's coming to make a big difference, and gets there and goes, "What the fuck did I just walk into?" and ends up in it, So like, that's politics. If you trust me, if you're watching, if you trust what I say about how my views are in politics, I'm urging you to watch that show. Shut your brain off, get away from mainstream media, get away from our podcasts, get away from all this shit that we talk about, and watch that show, and you'll see what I mean. And it's entertaining. Like the last 3 nights, guys, I swear to God, I started watching this Sunday. Episode 1, I started Sunday. I'm already almost onto the 3rd season. Okay. Last night I got home from work. I looked at Ashley. I'm like, "I'll be in the garage. You look tired. You should have a nap on the couch. I'll be there." And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great," and I was already gone. Took the dog and I took off to the garage and put the show on. It's exactly what it's not at all. It's Oz. It's the great and wondrous Oz is Canadian politics.
There was a thing I saw, a clip online or a thing on Facebook, Twitter, I can't remember where it was, and it had a picture of Superman, and then it had a picture of the main character. I'm not going to say his name. The main character, you know who I mean?
Yeah.
Boys. And it says, "Superman, what America thinks it is," and this character, what America really is.
Exactly.
And I'm like, "Oh, that nails this."
And that's what I mean. But when I found out, I read, because I'm one of those, like, I can't just enjoy something. I have to pick it apart. I have to dissect it, right?
Your pages about it. I have to.
I'm the same way. I have to dissect it. And this I dissected because I love his character. Like, his character is fantastic. And I said, actually, it was in a tweet thread with Dean and Lachlan. I said, "That's Pierre Poilievre right there. That's Pierre Poilievre, this guy." So, Douglas, I know it might not be your cup of tea normally, because it's definitely not mine.
I'm right in the same alleyway as you do. I don't gravitate to it. Every now and then I see something really good, and I was like, "Okay, that was better than I expected." I don't mind doing that, but every Marvel thing that comes up is like my Beaver. So let's go. So, yeah.
Get your bowl of popcorn, get your butter and spoon, and get in there, because it's really good. Boys, I love you. I have to go. It is very late, and we've gone over your time. I don't want to take any more of it. I feel like I'm usurping your show because I really enjoyed my time. I'll let you guys do your closing, and thank you. Can I ask one favor though?
Sure.
Douglas, last week we talked on Twitter about something, and Douglas, because he said I was very catty and snarky, made me an honorary gay. I was hoping here in the Beaver Lodge, can I get an honorary animal?
Oh,
yeah, otter. I
love otters. They're like one of my favorites.
This is the first one that came to mind. Okay. Otter, or what else? A moose is too big for the lodge, I think.
Yeah, I can't get through the door. My ego would do that, but I just can't get through the door. So
I like otter.
Mr. Otter.
Otter. Muskrat. Otter.
Muskrat. What do you think?
No, not gopher. Let's see.
Everybody loves otters, though. I mean,
otters are good. Yeah, but I don't know if I deserve an otter. They're pretty sweet, right? I'm not that sweet. Like you say, I'm a catty bitch, right? So I should maybe
use your powers for good.
How about a cougar? You could be a cougar.
Trash panda. All right, I'll take the otter. If that's okay. I wanted something.
Mr. Otter.
Mr. Otter.
Welcome to the Beaver Lodge.
I love you guys. You guys have a great night, and thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for
coming.
Great
having you.
We'll see you guys soon.
All right. Bye. Well, that was fun. That was a good night. Yeah. Well, I mean, we started out with giving facts and figures like we always do, and then we had a random meandering conversation, which is what I was hoping for,
Well, we had way more content and subjects. And we definitely did. We went on a whole bunch of other things. We didn't touch on all the things in the intro. So I guess we'll save those for another show that we'll
Another show,
record
yeah.
fairly soon, given that it's pretty much written. All right. Well, Kits, there's just one thing I wanted to mention before we go, because I found out about it just before coming on.
What?
And it's a very unique thing, actually, for us. It's filed under the Canadians Who Do Us Proud. And we have, I don't know if you know at the moment, but the Tour de France is currently going on.
Mhm.
And today, a Canadian cyclist named Hugo Hull crossed the finish line first and won a tour
Oh,
of the
cool.
Tour de France. And that's been the first time, I think, since Steve Bauer did it last in 1988 that a Canadian has won
A leg of
stage.
the, a leg of the,
a leg, yeah,
yeah.
leg of the tour, our tour,
It was
leg.
because Steve
Stage.
Bauer always, he would be the leader for multiple legs, and then he'd get to the mountains, and that's when he struggled.
Yeah. So, yeah, the stage 13
cool.
was, no, sorry. I don't remember what stage it is. Sorry. But anyway, he's done well. But here's the thing. Third place today was also a Canadian,
Oh, wow.
Mike Woods.
Cool.
We talked about him a while ago. He had won the pre thing, the four stage pre-race.
We'll have to get Mike Woods, because of his name, Woods. He's got to come into the Beaver
Oh,
Lodge.
yeah. Well, he apparently, during the Tour de France about a couple of days ago, I don't know when, was taking a turn, and there was like apparently great weather, nothing in the way, nothing in the obstacles, and like the bike just like lost balance, and he like skidded.
Mm.
And he has been competing like in pain, with like skin pulled off him, like this really, really sore feet and like this for the last week. And he says, like this, okay, I'm probably not going to win it this year like this, but I want to win a stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I heard that on the news about 2-3 days ago.
And he won a stage. Well, he came in third. I mean,
third.
The guy's
pretty close.
Beat up, right?
Yeah. And then another, but on the podium at the same time as another Canadian.
That's pretty cool. So he cycles like a Canadian hockey player.
Pretty much.
Right? Beat down, keep going.
Pretty much. And I believe this is for Hull, it's the second podium finish because he finished third in stage 13. And I think for Woods, I think was third for the second time in his career on the Tour de France podium.
It's a near impossible human feat to win the Tour de France for anybody to do it. And I know, look, Lance won it 7 times, and we all know he was doping and whatever, but that's still an incredible feat. Yes, I know he was loaded up on drugs. So was everybody else he was racing against.
So with the win on the stage, Hull goes up 7 spots, and he's 26th overall. And I think the Tour de France usually has like way over than 100 to start.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so and Woods has moved up 11 spots to 36. So I don't remember the last time there's ever been 2 Canadians in the top half of the Tour de France ever in my entire life. So again, Canadians doing like just really, really spectacular things. It's
outstanding.
Yeah, really. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that I had heard that before coming on, and I just thought share some good news.
Right? I love that. I did want to. I was gonna make a couple of comments earlier about Joe Rogan and his idiocy, but we can leave that for another day.
What, you want to?
No, it's 10:15. We've been on for 2 hours and change, and yeah, we'll leave that for another day when I'll rip into him really well. Look, man, go back to eating bull testicles or whatever the hell it was you were doing before, because you don't know what you're talking about.
So, Kits, like I said, we wanted to talk some stuff about the CPC leadership race and about Prime Minister Trudeau living rent-free in some conservative heads. So we'll try to package that up and give it to you fresh and tasty.
Very soon.
Yeah, very soon. And we will close off the episode, I wanted to give a shout out to Kit Hugh and Kit Connie. Kit Hugh had generously gave us a tip and generously gave us a second one.
Oh, cool.
So thank you very much. And he's joined Friends of Rosie,
Mhm.
which is nice. So Connie and Hugh and I got together for a lunch
Oh, cool.
here, and because they all live in the area, and it was nice to meet some kits in person, and it was a really, really, really great just afternoon of chat, and a bit like this, talking about different subjects, and just in company of like, when you're just with good people who have just good energy and it's just a good vibe all around. It was like that. It was like that. And that makes me happy because that's what I was hoping would happen with this is eventually as membership grows, we might be able to have some events
Yeah, well,
online with the kids and maybe like who knows, like 3-4 years, the Pod Save America people go out and do live shows like on tour with audiences and whatnot, maybe.
well, I still want us to do a live thing from the pub at some point. That will be zero scripting. I think that'll be just a pub chat, and we'll see what comes up. We'll just throw some topics on the table, pull one out of a bucket, and see what happens.
Oh, that would be fun,
right?
Yeah, that would be cool. Pull one. Yeah, I like that idea.
We'll put like 10 topics into a hat, pull one, and let's discuss.
Yeah. All right, that's a good idea. So yeah, I just wanted to give thanks and a thank to Kit Ian, who I just saw via our email has sent us a tip as well today. So and he's a new donor to us, a new patron. So thank you very much, Kit Ian. We really appreciate it. So kids, that's the end of this episode of the Eager Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you. And because democracy is something you do, if you can contribute to your local food bank, we would really appreciate that. And if you haven't listened to our episode Food Insecurity, please do. And if you'd like to join us and become a friend of Rosie, we're trying to give Rosie in Kenya a basic income. She's trying to keep 4 family members alive, 2 children and 2 parents who are ill. And through donations, we've managed to get water brought to her, and she's
second light bulb.
Yeah. So if you can, if you can't donate every month, if you can donate one time, every little bit helps. I'm sure we'll be able to do that. So send us a message on our Facebook page or on our Twitter account at True Eager, or by email at True North Eager Beaver at gmail.com, and let us know that you want to donate something for Rosie, or if you donate it through coffee and just mark it,
we'll get it to her.
Some text that it's for Rosie, we'll do it that way as well. Right, and opportunity to do some good, and if you can think of another way, then please go ahead. Just try. It's a tough world, and some people need some smiles. So if you have an opportunity to just do something nice, create a little positive energy in the world this week. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on Google, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and tell your friends. Of course, retweets, shares, gentle corrections, constructive criticisms, compliments, requests, and unfortunately, I did not receive any bribes of Farm Boy gluten-free chocolate chip cookies.
No, keep trying. Keep trying.
Cookies, even when they were on sale.
You got to keep tweeting them. You got to keep tweeting them. When you're talking about the show, you have to mention them. You got to tag them in the twit.
I included Farm Boy in a tweet and they liked it, but I said, you know what, I'd be happy to be your spokesperson and they haven't answered. So I guess I'm not big enough yet. So kids, you have to make me big so I can do commercials for Farm Boy. And if you wish to subscribe, you can do that via our Podpage site. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between all of those words. And finally, if you really, 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 really like this podcast and wish to encourage us to do more, well, we work for tips. So please feel free to buy a pint of Guinness for Mr. Grizzly here, or a mug of hot chocolate for me via our coffee page at ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver, with Mr. Grizzly, saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there, so be kind to and gentle with yourself.
Farm boy.
Sponsor us. Subliminal messages.
Farm boy.
Mr. Grizzly, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, drink plenty of water and try and get as much sleep as your body requires.
Oh, God. Well, you know what? I've been following the advice on the water. Hopefully my body will listen to you on the sleep tonight.
Good luck with that. I hope so too.
Kids, please keep sending the good vibes so that they tell me yes for Hamlet.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him. Is that Macbeth? I can't remember. Where's that?
Oh, yeah, I think that
Macbeth?
one might have been. Yeah, I think you might be. Yeah. The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver. Oh, come on.
You know what? I'll put that in. I'll add it in. Got it. I've got it here. Hang on. Give me a second here. I'll pull it up right now, and we'll just do it. I'll just play it live. Here it is. Hang on. I'll just hit play. You don't have to say anything. I record.
Okay.
Let's see here.
North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver. The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver Mr. Grizzly collaboration. Research, story, and guest curation and copy written by the Eager Beaver. Recording, production, editing, and additional research by Mr. Grizzly. Music courtesy of Ben Sound Royalty Free Music. Once again, thank you to our founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com, and thank you to Pete Jarvis for our artwork. We love it. Kids, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Take care.
I just lip synced for my life.
There you go. There you go.
Bye, kids.
All right. Take care.